You just get the oil out, replace the filter, and then just fill it back up, and that's it. And then when you, I guess, after all of this, you just go into the car and you go to vehicle, and then you press left on the little knob thing, service and checks, reset oil interval. And yeah, I mean, that's it.
Use whatever container you want to actually put the oil that's going to be coming out of the car in it. Just one thing to note, if you're doing it right, 5.5 more or less dirty oil, you know, you should fill up 5.5 of these or one of the big jugs. So this is an OEM. You can go on Audi OEM. I'll post a link. Obviously it's Volkswagen Audi group. I think this was like 10 to 14 bucks. I would really recommend it. And you just go on, you just enter your VIN and it says like this fits. And so what it comes with is the actual filter, which looks brand new. You'll see the disgusting one later. And then this ring is very important. When you're putting the oil filter housing back on, you need to replace the current ring with this one. Super easy, but if you don't do that, it could cause leaks. And then to get the oil filter housing off, you're going to need a socket wrench, obviously. And then this is what frustrated me the most when trying to figure out how to do this. You need a 32 millimeter socket. My actual filter housing, which I actually bought a completely new one, was a little bit stripped. It wasn't until I got this specific one that it did work. But when I was looking at a lot of videos, there were like a few that showed these like caps that fit perfectly on that I couldn't find, and a bunch of the like other, you know, the adjustable wrenches that like fit anything didn't even come close, because the actual oil filter housing is like so close to so many other things. It's like almost impossible to like, you know, use them. I'll show you what I mean. But anyways, you just get a 32 milligram socket, or sorry again, millimeter socket, and a wrench, obviously. That's gonna take off the housing. And then, although a lot of people like Mobile 1, if you actually look in the engine, it says this is the one that's recommended, the Castrol Edge. The car takes 5.5 liters. So typically I get like 1 or 2 of the big 5-liter ones. It's a little annoying that it's like 5.5. But so this was the cheapest option. It was just 6 1-liters. You know, I'll have just half of 1 liter left over, and then the next time I'll be able to get just one of the 5-liter jugs and it'll fill up perfectly. I'm pretty sure you can use Mobile, but like you need the SAE OW20, and again, Castrol is the actual one on the oil filter cap. It get a bit loud, so I'll probably just voice over it and just show you how to set it up and then talk about it after. Right before we go down, the very, very last thing, obviously, is you need something to actually use to pour the oil into. There's the obvious option of just a, you know, one of the actual like funnels, and I did use that actually the first time I did this. All that I've done so far is just take this off. It just sits right like this. All you need to do is pop the hood, obviously, and remove that, and then you'd be exactly where I'm at. So essentially the only 3 things we're concerned about is this. This is the actual oil filter. This dipstick place, there's no actual dipsticks, it's electronic. And then obviously where you put the oil in. This is where we start, because we're going to take this off and feed our little hose guy. And again, you want the skinny side. Currently, we've warmed the engine, taken our top off. Here are our, oops, there's the top. Here are our supplies. So, I've already taken off the positive battery. I've got the negative battery right here. That, which is my manual one that I now just use as a place to put it while it's coming out. So you can see some dripping out here. You put this fat end So you can see this one, skinnier, longer. The fat one, also, this has the direction listed right here on the bottom. So this is the way the oil goes. So my biggest complaint about this thing, just for the Q5, is the place you connect these cables to are so far in this corner, yet where you actually place it again is right here. This again is the fake dipstick cover, but that's how you put the smaller end in. I'm gonna first take off the dipstick cover, which kind of looks like it twists off, but it really just pops out. And then I'm going to feed, again, the small end. So basically, when you put this down, you're basically gonna feel for a faint, it's not that dramatic as I thought other people phrased it. But you can kind of feel when it hits the bottom. Yeah, you can kind of push it there. And it's interesting because most people say you're really, really not supposed to push it further, but I actually find in order to get everything out, you kind of have to wiggle it around. And I like to get the bottom, see how far that is, and then give it a little bit of slack, because if you do get it too far under, it's gonna get stuck because it kind of curves like this. And that's where obviously all the oil goes. I like to put this kind of right here because I also don't want this moving because it's pretty loud and it's gonna shake. There we go. And positive. You test, make sure this is at least pretty much at the bottom. 2, 3. As you can see, it just completely starts going very, very quickly. So I'm gonna just pretty much stop talking and only show you a few bits of this, but it's really loud and it's pretty much the same thing. I'll get to it when it slows down. All of our oil out. This thing's pretty heavy. Again, another reason to use one of these things is you can obviously tell if you got enough of the oil out, if you can fill one of these and then half of one of these, or at least have a much better idea than this one, because I think this is 10 quarts, 8 quarts. So I have no idea how to measure that. We will put in the oil next. So I just cleaned, as I said, this one, and I just put this on. I didn't put it on fully, but we'll just pop that one back into place, and obviously we will fill the oil that way, so I will just quickly put that there. So let's take this off. It comes off quite easily after a few clicks. Quite easily do it with by hand. This is where you have to be really careful because it's gonna be disgusting. So yeah, see, that's the housing. Old filter just comes right out. Put that right there. I'm just gonna reattach the little extractor thing and kind of get that stuff out and try and not have to do that by hand. So I just quickly cleaned up the oil filter housing just because it was an absolute mess. But just wanted to show you, you got your new filter, which just like fits in. You can either put it in like this or put it on top when we get back down to the car. But this is what I mentioned earlier. You just have to remove this old one. Just take like a screwdriver or flathead or whatever. Comes right off. And then you just want to make sure you get right where it was. If you put it anywhere else, your filter's gonna leak and your car's probably gonna get really fucked up. Anyways, you just slide it right on. So I won't show you that.